Hello everyone, welcome back to another video with On Point Politics, your number one stop for all things polling and election analysis in the United States. And today we're going to be looking at the 2024 election matchup to see where the race currently stands. Hit the like button and subscribe for more content just like this. And make sure to go ahead and follow me on X down in the description below. Make sure to go to @onpointpolitics in all lowercase, and make sure to go ahead and comment down below because it does help us out with the algorithm. And so I have already filled out all of the safe Republican states on the map except for Texas. Texas is now in the safe Republican column as well at just slightly above 15 points for the former president according to my election model, which does get him to 189 electoral college votes. As of right now, this would be the most amount of safe electoral college votes he's had going into an election for a pretty long time. And Harris at just 81 safe electoral college votes is going to be the smallest amount that a Democrat has gone into an election in a very long time with the safe electoral college votes. Looking at my national average, which readjusts all of the polling data going a month back by our target electorate, which is a tied population electorate of Republicans and Democrats. When you reweigh all the party data, Donald Trump is actually in the lead right now by around almost 3 points in the popular vote, and this is supposed to eliminate any possible bias that could be occurring. Kennedy is still at around 2.7%. He's slowly going down to 0. Undecideds are hovering around 2.5 points, and those two third-party candidates are all the way below half a point each at the national level. So Donald Trump is, out here with a pretty much a commanding lead. And looking at our simulation model, right now, Donald Trump is on average getting about 305 electoral votes to Harris's 233, and has about an 80% chance of winning the presidential election based out of all the simulations that we've done. If we actually go all the way down to the histogram, which I love looking at this histogram, when we actually look at this, pretty interestingly enough, we actually see a wide variety of results that constantly update as time goes on. All the results that have above a 75 count range from Harris being at 213 to 265 electoral college votes, not even above 270. Looking at all the Republican results that have over 75 simulations out of the 1,000, Donald Trump is ranging from 275 all the way to 336 in the electoral college. So he's doing fairly well. The most common result for Donald Trump out of all the simulations, which is about 114 counts, has him between 306 electoral college votes to 316 electoral college votes, with the most common scenario for Harris being around 224 to 234 electoral college votes. So the most common scenarios for both candidates essentially result in a Trump victory in the electoral college. Looking at the lower end, all the scenarios that have above 25 counts range anywhere from Harris getting 162 electoral college votes to getting 306, all the way from Trump getting 234, all the way to Trump getting 377. So even on the lower end of all the simulations that have above 25, Donald Trump is still getting the state of North Carolina. So that is very important to note. He's still more than likely getting the state of North Carolina, because in order for him to be at 235, he would have to be winning the state of North Carolina on top of all his 2020 states. And so that already puts him in a strong position. Looking at the simulations that are above 50, his floor is 255 electoral college votes, which may insinuate that he's probably already winning Nevada and Georgia. Harris's floor is about 183 to 193, so she's not even performing that strong in her floor there. Her floor with the simulations above 75 is just 214. Trump's floor is already winning the electoral college with 275. So clearly Donald Trump is the one that is favored in this election cycle as of right now, based out of all the simulations that we've done with our model, plus looking at our national lead. And we have just launched our forecast at onpointpolitics.com. It'll be linked in the description down below. For now, we are displaying the state margins, but we will instead be showing the odds of what the potential odds the state has of flipping, because I think that is a little bit better to showcase. If you click, you can see the expected turnout, the expected vote shares, and the odds, but we are about to flip it to where you see the odds here and you see the margins here. pretty soon. We'll be fixing that. Our model explained. So essentially there are three margins that comprise of this: the polling average that I have / the personal estimate. Looking at the demographic margin, so essentially we pretty much found the white, black, Hispanic, and other populations in all of the states, and you basically play around with the margins to what you think would happen, which is what me and my team are doing. And once we do that, we're kind of able to assess where we think all of the states are in terms of that. So that gets averaged in. And then the nonpartisan / popular vote. So essentially what you do is you go ahead and you find the national popular vote leaning of every single state. So for example, Wisconsin in 2020 voted to the right of the nation by 3.8% because it voted 0.6% Democrat and a 4.5+ national environment for Joe Biden. So that's kind of how that's calculated. You basically get the margin of the popular vote, subtract that by the margin of victory, and you get the pretty much the partisan leaning of that state. That's pretty much how you figure that out. And so now, looking at the Electoral College map, we essentially find the trends between all of the nonpartisan leaning of the states from 2020 all the way going back to 2000. So when you do that, you're able to track a long-term trend as best as we possibly can. And we apply that to the 2020 nonpartisan leanings. And once we go ahead and do that, we apply the popular vote margin from the national average here, and that gets us the margin. Once we average out all three margins, that is the margin that you see on your screen right here. So Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, North Carolina, Georgia, Arizona, Nevada, and Florida are all likely margins of victory on the map. So that goes Wisconsin for the 10 electoral votes that it has, as well as Pennsylvania, North Carolina, Georgia, Florida, Arizona, and Nevada. Donald Trump is performing extremely better compared to 2020 with Hispanic and African American voters, which is going to help him out in Florida and in most of the Sun Belt. And with white working class voters, Harris does not have a strong appeal with those either, and she will struggle in Wisconsin and Pennsylvania because of this. Looking at Washington, Oregon, Colorado, Illinois, New York, Rhode Island, Connecticut, New Jersey, Delaware, and Maine's 1st congressional district, as well as the state of Hawaii, those will all be under 15 points for Kamala Harris, including Hawaii, due to the Maui fires that occurred under the Biden administration. A lot of voters there have not forgotten about that, and it's definitely going to affect the results. And polling data suggests that Donald Trump is ahead with Asian voters nationwide pretty significantly as well. Looking at some of these more liberal states, Washington, Oregon, Colorado, Illinois, New York, you're going to have a large shift with millennial voters that tend to be more liberal leaning, that may possibly sit out the election or switch to Donald Trump instead of voting for Kamala Harris. And you're going to see that reflect in the Electoral College map. Now, looking at the traditional swing states that we have now, which include New Mexico, Minnesota, Michigan, Virginia, New Hampshire, Maine at large, and Nebraska second. The states that will go lean Republican are Michigan and Nebraska's 2nd congressional district. On the forecast website, Nebraska's 2nd is projected to be a very close win against Harris for Donald Trump, and Michigan is expected to be a pretty large victory for Donald Trump, around 3 to 4 points as of right now for the former president. Looking at Minnesota, this is the only lean Democrat state on the map in this forecast, as it has been trending to the left the past couple of cycles, and we do expect Harris to be able to gain some support in the Hennepin County area. That is our, basically our analysis in the state of Minnesota. New Hampshire and Maine, we project are going to flip to the former president because Donald Trump is expected to perform way better with independent voters leading into the election cycle. And because of the fact that there are way more independents in Maine and New Hampshire, basically comprising of 45 to 50% of the electorate compared to most other states, Donald Trump does gain with independents the way we expect him to. You're going to see Maine and New Hampshire trend to the right and shift to the right by more than states like Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, North Carolina, Georgia, Arizona, Nevada, because they have more registered independent voters. And the white voters there seem to not be super fond to Harris because she's actually still losing them in polls where she gets overestimated, or Biden and Hillary get overestimated by in very, very large amounts. Looking at the last 2 states on the map, New Mexico and Virginia, these are projected to be tilt margins in this forecast. Donald Trump improving with Hispanic and African Americans is definitely going to help him out here, as well as the combination of doing better with whites will definitely get him way more competitive in these states than we think. A lot of the polling in New Mexico is oversampling Democrats and undersampling Republicans, and my average has the state as a tilt margin for Kamala Harris. Looking at Virginia, the latest 3 polls have had it within 3 points, and they've slightly overestimated Biden's margin and Hillary's margin in the past, and so I do expect a very, very competitive race. Maybe New Mexico and Virginia are over point victories. It's very possible, but right now, according to our forecast, they are going to be razor-tight races that the political pundits and forecasters on the mainstream media will definitely not expect. And so that is it for this video, guys. Donald Trump is at 319 electoral college votes to Harris's 219 electoral college votes. A very easy victory for the former president in the electoral college. Make sure to hit the like button and to subscribe if you want more content just like this. Make sure to comment down below to help out with the algorithm, and go for daily updates on the election model at onpointpolitics.com, and make sure to follow me on Twitter at onpointpolitics in all lowercase. I will see you guys in the next video.